Can you believe? And that was from the show Get Smart, back when I was a kid with Don Adams, where he played a James Bond type, a comedy. I got to tell you something. It's not a comedy. I turn on the news today and I see the disciple, the individual that has been put in charge operationally in the White House for so-called Dr. Anthony Fauci, a woman. I don't remember her name. Frankly, I just got so mad I couldn't figure it out. But they're now advocating that we not just wear face masks, but that we have goggles, that we look like we're some kind of alien creature walking around to prevent the spread of coronavirus. Now it's going to be more than face masks. It's going to be visors, all kinds of stuff. Well, I guess it might be good for that industry, and perhaps we can look like we're firefighters or God knows what, maybe astronauts. But the thing is so absurd, it's ridiculous. But at the same time, my client, Dr. Judy Mikovits, is attacked by the left because she disclosed stuff with regard to Dr. Fauci, very questionable stuff, that he actually sent the seeds of the coronavirus over to the lab in Wuhan, China, and got a grant during the Obama administration so they could do research on the seeds of that virus on the line that ultimately gave rise to a bioweapon. And the Chinese released it either by accident or by design. I say the communist Chinese because the Chinese people are good people. Their leadership is evil. She was going to appear on Sinclair Network last weekend. She actually did an interview with Eric Bolling, but Eric got cold feet when he was attacked by the left and ran for the exits. But people need to see what she has to say, not just about Fauci's complicity in what's going on today with regard to this pandemic, which is destroying the nation and the world, destroying our economy, could lead to the defeat of President Trump in the fall. Just today, he suggested we delay the election. It's a good idea, but that'll never be accepted. That's going to make matters worse politically. But to make a long story short, go to freedomwatchusa.org. Watch what Dr. Mikovits and her partner, Kent Heckenlively, have to say in their books, Plague of Corruption and other books, not just about how you combat the virus in a normal, logical way, not just about face masks that they're, according to her, counterproductive. She worked with Fauci at the at the Fort Detrick lab, which is a military lab in Fort Detrick, Maryland. She knows what went on with Fauci. He is not an honest person. And the president, unfortunately, is giving him too much authority. And the nation, and particularly the economy, is being destroyed, and it will probably result in the president's election defeat if he continues to take the advice of Fauci. Now, I've sent this interview. It's about 1.5 hours. I want you to watch it. It's at freedomwatchusa.org. It was produced by Crowdsource The Truth, my good friend and colleague, Jason Goodman. It's also on his websites. I sent it to Donald Jr. I sent it to Kellyanne Conway. I sent it to Stephen Miller in the White House. I sent it to others. I want them to watch it because the president clearly needs new advisors because he's got a new message every day and is playing into the hands of the brain-dead individual by the name of Joe Biden. I also got to tell you that they had a hearing yesterday on Capitol Hill with regard to social media. The congressmen were not really prepared for that media. But let's look at Freedom Watch's YouTube channel and also what happened to my client, Laura Loomer, my brave client, being discriminated against by Google, YouTube, and other social media. We have 45,000 subscribers. We should have much more. We've been static for about 6 years. It's clear that Google limits who gets to subscribe and also limits to who gets to see our podcasts and our radio shows in that forum. So I want you to share this podcast every day, far and wide, and go around Google, which is an evil bunch. And again, like I said yesterday, why isn't the Justice Department moving more quickly to break them up, particularly before the election? Because that's probably likely also to swing the election to Biden and the Democrats, because conservatives, people of faith, others who aren't radical can't get their message out. Then, of course, we have the continuing crime in major cities. We have the domestic terrorists who are on the loose. The president needs to ramp that up. These people all need to be arrested. They need to be thrown in prison. Give them their due process rights. Let them have trials. Let them get lawyers from legal aid or wherever. but they need to be locked up and taken off the streets. This country is in a civil war. It's in a revolution. The radical left, composed of radical blacks, radical feminists, radical LGBTQs, radical people on the Jewish left like the Soros and other people, and I'm Jewish myself, so it's not anti-Semitic. I'm sorry. My own people have been the biggest threat to the destruction of Jewry. I'm a Jewish Christian. I believe in the Messiah. I believe in Jesus as well. And atheists, Muslims, everybody else, they're in there all banded together to destroy this country, and they think they're going to take it over, and they think they're going to push forward with a remolded government under Joe Biden. He's the umbrella. He's the Manchurian candidate, because you got all these other people, these hateful people like Rashida Tlaib and Ilham Omar and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez behind that, who are actually the puppeteers. They're the masters. Oh, sorry, you can't use that word anymore. But this is what's happening. And this is why Freedom Watch is your Justice Department, and we're fighting back. We've got lawsuits for the police in Philadelphia who have been discriminated against, primarily white cops, fired because they tweeted things and their internet sites were hacked by a Soros-funded group. And the DA, who was elected with Soros's money, is at the helm. And we have our class actions in Dallas, Texas, and in Jerusalem, Israel, against the communist Chinese. Justice Department doesn't have that. We have other cases against social media for Laura Loomer and for Freedom Watch. We have cases against Antifa, which are going forward. Even the Ninth Circuit said that could happen. Look, we just don't get documents. That's what my former group did, or does rather, didn't do it when I ran it. We bring hard-hitting cases. We don't sit around with documents playing cards and shuffling the deck. We're there bringing hard-hitting cases, and we hope that we'll succeed. And if that doesn't succeed, then we have our citizens' grand juries, where the people peacefully and legally can take matters into their own hands. We can indict, we can try, we can convict, we can sentence, and peacefully and legally we can seek to mete out those sentences. Citizen arrests are actually legal. Okay, you can go back and look at the law here, but we will do it peacefully and legally and appropriately. So support Freedom Watch. Go to freedomwatchusa.org. Also, buy my new book, which is on pre-sale, called It Takes a Revolution, Forget the Scandal Industry. You can find it at barnesandnoble.com, on amazon.com, all the major booksellers. Buy it, because I have a plan on how the people can rise up peacefully and legally and wage a second American revolution and get rid of these leftists and get rid of the corruption in our three branches of government, most particularly the federal judiciary, which is the most corrupt of all. They're supposed to protect us, but in fact, they've become the enemy of the state. So God bless you. God bless America. God save you. Share this podcast. You can find it on Spotify, iTunes, Roku, Amazon Fire, the new Parlay, Twitter, Facebook, RadioAmerica.com, and of course, FreedomWatchUSA.org. Until tomorrow, God save America. God save your family and your loved ones. We are under attack. And thank you for listening to me.